Right, lovely one. So you're going on to mute, and what I would like all of you to do is come and take a lie down on your back if that's comfortable for you. Maybe put some support underneath the back of the knees, like a rolled up blanket or a cushion or something like that. I'm just shutting this door because they might come back. So I'm going to have my bolster here so I can sit on it and talk to you in a minute. But if you can just come and get yourselves settled. All right. Now know that if you need me, just wave at me and I'll take you off of mute and we can have a talk, or just or put it in the chat if you need me. If you want to ask a question, if you're not sure about what you're doing, something along those lines. But for now, just lie on your back, maybe with a support, like I said, underneath the knees, and make sure you're warm. So don't be in a drafty place. I can see you closing doors and things like that, which is good. You don't want to be in a cold space for this practice because it's so still that you're going to end up getting more cold, obviously. Okay. So once you get yourself settled and feel held, feel supported, even if that's just simply a pillow under the head, if that's what you need. Start with breathing naturally and observing your breath without changing the pattern of it. And I know that's contradictory because as soon as we start to watch the breath, the pattern changes. But just notice how you're feeling when the breath is relaxed and easy. And notice how you're feeling on your physical level, on the level of the mind. How does the mind feel this evening at this moment in time? And then finally, how do the emotions feel? Where are you sitting in your emotional body? Do you feel any signs of tension anywhere in any of those levels, or just in a physical location? How deep is the breath? And where does the breath enter your body? Just lie here, relaxing, breathing, noticing. Relax the upper chest, the shoulders, the muscles around your neck. Try to keep your belly soft as it rises and falls. Your breathing should be effortless, without struggle. Notice, do you entirely finish the exhale before you take the next breath? Try to keep the breathing really soft. And imagine that there is a candle burning just in front of your nose. The flame is just in front of you. And you don't want to disturb the flame. So your breath is very, very soft. take your attention to the four parts of the breath. The inhale, the pause between the inhale and the exhale itself, and the pause before you fill up again. Can you be present in each stage? Can you allow the inhale to arise on its own? Let the breath rise and fall from the inside of you. And continue to breathe just softly, gently on your own for the next 1 minute. And now, how do you feel in your body and your mind? Just from taking this moment, this opportunity to reconnect in a very simple, very gentle way. Tonight's practice is all about slowing down and observing the quality of patience. Yin is very much a practice of patience. And so I want you to observe that quality within yourself as we work through tonight's selection of shapes. There is a theme. The theme is time, as time often is our best teacher, especially when it comes to patience. And so what we'll do is we're going to take each pose, with every pose we're going to add an extra minute of time. So the first pose will stay in for 1 minute, the second pose for 2 minutes, the third pose for 3 minutes, etc., etc. And we'll try to get through as many as we can before the end of the class. So you know that it's going to be short at the beginning and ending up getting longer at the end. This is going to test your patience because as the time increases, it's a challenge to stay in these shapes. But also it can be a test of your patience when the poses are shorter, actually, I think, because you might be greeted with something that you want to stay in for a bit longer and you just don't get that opportunity. Okay. So, with all of that in mind, can you gently come up away from your lying position? And we're coming into child's pose. Now, you can do this completely prop free. A traditional child's pose is knees together, feet together, hands by the heels and the head down. But know that you can make fists, or you can prop your forehead up with a blanket or a block if you want. But equally, if you've got some cushions or you've got a yoga bolster, you can use that to be your support and you can fold over some cushions or fold over something with a bit of height. Okay, so a nice straightforward pose to begin with. We're only spending 1 minute here. The timer is going on now. Okay. And because there isn't a lot of time here, just simply go back to your breathing body. and slowly enjoy the few breaths that you have whilst you're here. Try to replicate those easy breaths that you found. The softness, the slowness of the body breathing. Okay, so that's your last breath. Take this last breath that you're on. And then slowly emerge from the shape. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes it can be a test of our patience when we get agitated and removed from something that we were maybe just getting ourselves into. Now, our next pose is butterfly pose. You could sit on a cushion or a blanket for this one. The soles of the feet come together, the knees have fallen out wide to the sides, and essentially you're just rounding forwards into this space in front of you. You could use some cushions or something underneath the front body, or you could put cushions or something underneath the legs and have some support that way. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. So don't worry about finessing the pose too much, because this is simply another opportunity to fold forwards, but just with a slightly different leg set up. Just let yourself hang out here. Lengthening the back of your body. Letting the spine lengthen. The inner thighs are also lengthening here. And so is the breath. Lengthen the exhalations. With each exhalation, fold a little bit more deeply forwards. Take one more breath here. Very nice. And then softly and slowly emerge from your shape. Notice there's no rebounds tonight. We're just coming from one pose into the next pose. So just take time when you come out and notice. Okay, notice if you need that little time, that little rebound time that I normally give you. And it's a test of your patience to not have it, isn't it? Third pose, 3 minutes long, standing up. This is the only standing pose in the yin repertoire, and it's called dangling. So you can bend the knees, you're just hanging out, maybe holding the elbows, hanging the head. If you know that you can't do this pose, then you're sitting and you're folding over straight legs, or legs that are extended out in front of you rather than knees wide. So you're essentially doing this, but the standing up version. And this is great because it decompresses your spine, which is something all of our spines need every single day. especially at the end of the day. So the timer is on. This is a 3-minute pose. If you know that you can't stay here for that long, please come out sooner. Don't feel like you have to have dead straight legs, because you don't, unless of course your hamstrings are very stretchy and that's something you enjoy doing. If you've got any tension in your body, bend your knees, let your tummy rest onto your thighs, and concentrate more on letting go of the head and letting the back of your neck lengthen. You're halfway through. Keep focusing on soft breaths, please. Last 3 or 4 slow breaths. Okay. So to come out of this shape, put your hands on the floor, walk your feet backwards, bring your knees softly down, and just for a very brief moment come into child's pose, just to give yourself that chance to let the blood rearrange itself out of your head particularly and back into the rest of your body. Okay. So when you feel that you have suitably um, rebalanced those fluid levels in your body, come up. And we're coming into a dragon pose next. So it's a bit of a whistle stop tour tonight. We're going to get lots and lots of poses in. So you might want some kind of support for one of your knees. It could be a blanket, it could be folding up your mat an extra time. And I'm going to put the blanket underneath my left knee, and I'm stepping my right foot forwards. Okay, so this is dragon pose, or the start. Any kind of lunge is considered to be a dragon pose in yin. So it doesn't matter what dragon you choose, but I want you to lunge the hips forwards to a depth that you feel comfortable with going. And you can keep your arms resting onto your thigh like this, or you can put your hands forwards. You could put some support underneath your hands if you wanted a little bit of extra height, for instance. So please feel your way into this. You should have a stretchy feel on the back thigh, on the front of the back hip, sorry, and the front of the thigh. And then you've got a little bit of compression going on in this right hip where it's being squashed up at the front there. Okay. So we're here for 4 minutes. Let's get my timer on before I forget. she says. And so we know that yin is a practice of patience, as I've said to you before. The Buddha taught a lot about patience. Patience in sitting in the present moment, particularly with something called dukkha. And dukkha translates as suffering. It's a tricky one to talk about, because here we are in this shape right now, and it could be considered that this experience is one of suffering. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't be here in any kind of excruciating discomfort, but there is a little bit of what we would classify as discomfort. For most of us, this is not a natural position to be in. So we're inflicting a form of dukkha, a form of suffering on our bodies. But the Buddha teaches us that we need to learn how to sit with discomfort, and that is a practice of patience. We sit without expectation, without trying to fight whatever it is that we're doing, but also without trying to ignore what we're doing either. We want to be in this present moment with these felt, very real felt sensations. The physical body is talking to us loudly at the moment, I would have thought. Maybe even the mental body is having a chat with us, reasoning, rationaling, why are we doing this? You may even have emotions that are rippling up into your awareness. So all of this is a test of our ability to stay here and to be patient here. Okay, last breath. I've talked you through. Well done, everybody. Now, you have been here a long time. So softly, slowly, it's going to feel really stiff. It's probably going to feel a little bit tricky coming out of these shapes. Sorry, just turn the alarm off on my phone. Step your right foot back and just spend a moment swapping over your props. So blanket to support the knee. Left foot sliding forwards. Finding a lunge position that works for your body. Dropping into it, but not so that it takes your breath away, not so that it is pain or extreme discomfort. I think we're all right. Keep on checking up on you guys. I can see you all pretty much. I can see most of you. So, patience, very real. And it's something that we have to work on, isn't it? Something that we don't achieve it by trying to hide our impatience. I think at times we can be quite naturally impatient around certain things. But we can't be patient if we're hiding it. We can't try to be patient. We can't want to be patient. It is simply a state of being that arises naturally from within. And yoga, and yin yoga particularly, is such a fantastic teacher. We learn simply to be, not to analyze, not to assess. And just give in to being present. Remember, it's okay if it gets too intense. It's okay to back off slightly. Because gravity is playing a big role in the practice of this particular pose. And the longer that we stay here, the heavier that we get. We can feel gravity drawing us closer to the ground. And for some, it can feel like a really natural and quite welcome enhancement to the stretch that you might be experiencing. And for others, it can give you an intensity that just distracts and takes us away from, remember, we're trying to naturally be in this state of patience. We're just letting ourselves sit here and accept what is happening. We can't do that if it's too extreme. That's why yin has to stay away from the edges, not be too strong. You've got one last breath here. Well done, everybody. Okay, so remember, after these much longer held play positions, it's going to feel like you're very delicate, very vulnerable as you step out of this shape. And maybe just for a moment, offer yourself a little bit of child's pose again. As you start to notice, don't you, how your body needs these rebounds, but we're not really having a lot of. But we need them, don't we, when the pose lasts a longer amount of time. Okay. So coming away, coming up to all fours. Our next shape is sleeping swan, or any kind of swan actually, upright swan or sleeping swan. So I'll show you two ways. First way is right knee to the back of the right wrist, and then the foot going across to the left hand side of your mat. Notice that mine's at a bit of an angle here. It's not going, my shin is not parallel with the top of the mat, for instance. Back leg slides back, and I could either stay up here, this would be an upright swan, or I can come down and any lower, you could be on your elbows, you could have a cushion underneath you to be propped up on, etc. Or you can come all the way down. If that doesn't work for you, for your knees, then there is the option, I'll show you this way around, to sit more in a 90-90 fashion, and then to turn and to fold forward. So that might be your variation. And if neither of those work, then you could lay on your back and do a figure of four, maybe with your foot on the wall or on a piece of furniture for a little bit of extra movement into the glutes, because that's your target area. Okay. I think you're all about there. I've chatted you all through it long enough. So this is a 5 minute shape. It's getting longer now. And once you get over the first, I'd say, minute of being here, I invite you to assess whether or not you're building up a more kind of patient stamina, dare I say it, as the practice progresses. So remember that one of the Buddha's main tenets, one of his main teachings, is that all of life is suffering. And it sounds really doom and gloom, but it isn't. Not really. Not when you read around it. But essentially what he's saying is that everything is a challenge. Everything that we have that's presented to us could be a form of suffering. But the real talent, if you like, comes with how you approach that suffering. What do you do with it? Can you turn it into a positive? Can you sit with it and observe it instead of getting caught up in it? So that's the thing. That's what we've got to try not to do in this practice. We can't go on this train of thought that's inevitable, okay, for all of us. We all have our moments when we go off spiraling into what the bloody hell am I doing here? This is hurting. Why? How can this be beneficial? This pose is way too long. How long is she going to keep us here for? Etc. Etc. And you can get really lost in this mind train, and this is suffering. That's the dukkha. Well, it's actually the second layer of suffering if we want to go into it particularly. The suffering is the fact that it's happening in the first place. And then the second suffering is the fact that we make it into an issue, we turn it into something in our minds. And what the Buddha wants to teach us is that patience, that stepping back, that being the quiet observer, trying not to let our emotions take over. We don't want to have an opinion about it. We just want to watch. And I think this practice teaches us that massively. You got 1 more minute here. Okay, so taking your last breath. Well done. Slowly lifting yourself up and sliding the front leg back. Ooh la la, it gets juicier, doesn't it? The longer you stay, the juicier it gets. You might just want to take a very brief downward facing dog. Okay. And then we'll do the other side. So come back down onto the knees. Bring the left knee to the back of the left wrist, or come into your version of swan your way. Right leg, remember, walk it back if it's straight, or sit to the side and turn the knee out to the side, the toes out to the side if that's better for this back leg. So remember, you can start being in a more upright position and gradually make your way down to the floor. 5 minutes has gone on. So we'll hang out here. Don't be in a hurry to force the pose. Patience and having a patient nature understands that the journey of how things come into being is the one that we want to sit with. We want to watch its evolution. And that's what we're doing in this pose right now. We're just sitting back, patiently watching how this pose evolves. And just like nature, you can't rush a thing. You can't rush the tiny seedling that grows. The seasons come when they're ready. Even the day into the night has its own unique rhythm. Nothing can be rushed. We don't need to have an opinion about it. We just sit back and watch. You're over halfway. Stick with it. Breathe softly. Last minute. Last breath. And then let's ease ourselves out. So maybe walk the back knee up a little bit. And then you can come away from the floor and slide the left leg back. And it might just be nice to come into child's pose. It might be nice to lay on your tummy. It might be nice to take a downward facing dog if you want to. Okay. So then we're going to come back down onto the knees and onto your tummy. This is your final pose. So you're coming into Sphinx, a nice kind of bring it all back together pose after all of the asymmetrical stuff. So it can just be that you're propped up on your forearms. You could put something else underneath the elbows if you want some more height. If you want less height, you move the elbows further away so you're a little bit longer through your body. A little bit less intense in the spine here. This pose will be in for about 6 minutes. But I want to leave enough time for a shavasana at the end. So I might stop it just a little bit early. I'm just conscious of the time. All right. So just take it easy. Feel moderate compression in your lower back. But also notice how the symmetry feels through your body, along both legs particularly, and into the hips and the pelvis. When we work with this kind of sitting back, it's not being passive. It's just not reacting. I think that's what it is. It's like when you spill milk, isn't it? You can't, there's no point crying over it, as the saying goes. It's like, okay, this needs to be cleaned up now. We need to buy some more milk. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. And when we learn to go with kind of the natural rhythms, especially when we observe the seasons, when we, acknowledge this movement of daytime into nighttime, we slow down, don't we, into the night. We start to slow down as we move towards the winter. And we reconnect with this beautiful natural flow of life. And that's, I think, when we discover patience. Everything happens when it is good and ready to happen. Not necessarily always when we want it to happen, but when we understand that every single thing takes its own sweet time to evolve and to grow. When we know that, about ourselves, about people around us, about life in general, then we can sit back and watch and be patient. So we watch that evolution and we watch that growth happening. It's quite magic, isn't it? Okay, so let's take one more breath here. And then I'd like you to release. And maybe just come and lie on your back. Now, if you wanted, like at the beginning, you put something underneath your knees, you could set yourself up with that arrangement again. You could maybe grab a blanket if you wanted to cover yourself over with that. And it might be nice to start when you lie down, just to have the knees bent and to rock your knees side to side, just to take any residual kind of tension out of your low back. All right, so spread yourself out, settle yourself down. Make sure that you're warm and very comfortable. Let your body spread out like it's a beautiful quilt. You know when you lift the quilt up to air it or to smooth it across the bed, and it floats gently down and just lays in that very perfect fashion. That's the sense that you want to offer to your body. Empty yourself of any muscular effort, tension. And feel the weight of the bones heavy into the mat. Feel your organs sink to the back of your body. And as they sink, they slow down. Everything's slowing down. As if you were the autumn leaves falling. Feel yourself floating downward. You are earthbound. And there is a rooting of your body. How much patience did you treat yourself to as you rested into Shavasana tonight? Okay, so it's time to bring yourself back from wherever you drifted off to. Time to come back into your physical being, and back into this moment again. Take some deeper breaths. And then you can wiggle fingers and toes and gently ease yourself back into movement. Okay. Maybe take a stretch out if you like. And then we will gather the knees in towards you. Take a little roll across the back of your body. And come round and up to sit whenever you're ready, please. Take your time, there's no rush. I love that I think Jo's got her cat sitting on her, yeah, that's it, isn't it? Keeping you warm. I love how animals really want to join in with Yin. It's such a lovely practice. They just want to be part of it, don't they? Okay, so if you can come up to sit without disturbing your loved furry friends, we'll finish the practice together. So fingertips out to the sides. Taking an inhalation, and we'll raise the arms up above the head. Let the palms find each other before exhaling and bringing your hands to your heart center. And thank you so much for coming together to practice tonight. Very, very well done. Namaste to you. And have a very lovely rest of the evening. Well, a very peaceful rest of the evening.